Eliminating hospital visiting hours. We talked to the CEO of a Canadian hospital that made the change. And later, how doctors treat Ebola patients. I'm Madeline White. Welcome to Globe Now. The Globe and Mail recently reported on a movement in Canadian hospitals to eliminate visiting hours so that loved ones can stay with patients 24/7. But what are the consequences of this policy change? Leslie Thompson is the president and CEO of Kingston General Hospital, which eliminated visitor hours in 2010. She joins me via Skype to further discuss the policy. Welcome, Leslie.
Hello.
So we've received a lot of feedback from our readers about this issue, and we thought we would share some of it with you. Here's one, and the reader writes, "In a ward room, this new trend will be a disaster. The patients in the other beds will be too compassionate to demand perfect silence from visitors, so they will simply lie sleep-deprived in their beds on the other side of the curtain." That seemed to be something a lot of readers brought up. Have you found that there's been a problem with noise since you've instituted this policy?
We have not had any problems with increased noise since implementing this. The reason is because in working with patients and families in such a model like we have in including them all in the teams, that really common sense prevails. And when patients and families are part of a plan to help improve the recovery of their loved ones, they're considerate not only of the circumstance of the individual patient, but those around them.
I mean, another issue, though, that some of our readers brought up was that of security. Presumably there are more people at kind of stranger hours of the day or night that are there. Have you had to change your security policy at all to kind of work with this visitor hours or no visitor hours policy?
We have increased security around Kingston General Hospital. We have some increased surveillance. There is one single door that people come in during the nighttime hours. Also, all of our staff actually have a device, and they just tap twice onto this button anywhere in the hospital, and that alerts security, and they can communicate directly if they need help from security or from any of their fellow colleagues on the unit.
How about doctors? Have they had any problems with having visitors there all of the time?
This is a change indeed. And with input of staff as we were adjusting and learning from the process, people have received this very positively.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Leslie.
Thank you very much.
We want to hear from you. Do you think giving family members 24/7 access to hospital patients is a good idea? Or are you a patient with a story about visitor hours? Well, be sure to tell us on Twitter. We're at Globe Now. And now we change from hospital policies to a medical nightmare. Africa is in the midst of an Ebola outbreak. Since February, over 600 people have died of the disease. We caught up with a doctor from Doctors Without Borders about the challenges of treating patients with such an infectious, deadly disease.
It's like wearing a sauna. You sweat inside. It's 50 degrees inside. We tested it with a thermometer. We had full PPE that includes helmets and a double pair of gloves and a fully waterproof suit and boots and goggles. So it's very uncomfortable. So you stay for 1 hour, for 1 and a half at most, and then you go out. And it's very annoying to work with that. You don't feel like you can get close to the patient, but at the same time, it's your protection. We also have a circuit inside the area where people are treated, where it's low risk and high risk. And in an Ebola project, and you start getting sick, you start thinking a bit too much. I got sick one day. For 2 days, I had intestinal upset, and I was not feeling very well. But I knew that I respected all the procedures. And when I go on outreach, I respected limitations in terms of distance with patients. We spray ourselves a lot with chlorine, so I knew that it couldn't be Ebola.
Well, that's it for today's show. If you've got a moment, hop onto Twitter. We want to hear about your thoughts on the 24/7 visitor policy for hospitals. Or is the West doing enough to stop the spread of Ebola? Tweet us. We're at Globe Now. I'm Madeline White. Thanks for watching.